What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow. I'm also going to be talking about what's going on with Tesla from a technical perspective, because using a Fibonacci retracement chart, we can have an idea of where this thing may get a bounce based off where it is and based off what this is showing. I'm also going to be talking about tomorrow for the markets, as we do have Brainerd speaking, and also we have the FOMC minutes being released, and this could be kind of big for the markets. I don't expect it to be too huge, but we could see the market react based off what Brainerd ends up saying. I'm also going to talk about what Elon Musk put on his Twitter page that's massive for Tesla. But before I do that, before I talk about Elon Musk and what's going on with the market and everything like that, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. The first thing is I'm not a financial planner, so please don't take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, but benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed 6 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And you could always sell these 6 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some Tesla shares for free in this limited time offer that ends in just 2 weeks. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at Tesla, we're currently down about 6.93% for the day, and we are actually showing some bearish signals by kind of dropping below these key support zones I was talking about in the past. And I honestly predicted that Tesla would hold up above like 650 for today. We ended up going even lower than that, so that's not necessarily a good sign. However, tomorrow is going to be an important day for the market collectively, because we have some important things coming out from the Fed. So the Vice Chair of the Fed, Lil Brainerd, she's going to be giving a speech at 12:15 p.m. Eastern time. So be on the lookout for that. You might suddenly see the market drop as we approach the meeting. We might get a nice push up after, depending on what is announced, because there's no way for me to really predict what she's going to say. She could announce something unexpected, so be on the lookout for that. Additionally, we have the FOMC minutes coming out at 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And this is going to be big because when we have the FOMC meetings, generally we have Powell speaking to us, the people, and he just says everything is just like a verbal agreement, or not necessarily an agreement, but it's just him giving a speech verbally. This is going to be the numbers on paper, and a lot of big institutions are going to be looking at the numbers in much more detail. They're going to be looking at what the Fed's going to do with these monetary policy changes and how they may affect the markets, right? We're going to see them start to kind of taper at a much quicker rate. They may start selling a lot of their they're selling to reduce their balance sheet relatively soon. They're going to continue to raise rates, perhaps. So we're going to find out a lot more details about that. We're going to find out what under the data shows, everything like that. So be on the lookout for that. 12:15 p.m. and 2 p.m. are going to be crucial times for tomorrow in Eastern time. As for Tesla, I want to talk about what on earth is going on. So Tesla's kind of being dragged down with the whole market almost collectively. If you look at the 2-hour candles on the SPY, look at how the SPY is respecting this downward trend. And you could see right here, we're getting hit by stronger resistance right over here around that 397, 398 range. So the SPY is being slowed down. We also have some resistance now around that 395. So SPY is starting to kind of descend. It's looking kind of bearish right now over like a more macro perspective. What I anticipate for tomorrow is there could be a slight push on the SPY up to like this level around that 396 range, but then I would expect a slight rejection. And we're probably going to start dropping as we approach Brainerd speaking. And depending on what she says, we could get a big reaction if she announces something huge, something that we like to hear, like the Fed becoming more dovish than expected, or something like that, or if she confirms, excuse me, that interest rates or the federal funds rate won't be kind of hiked up to the degree some people think, right? This can actually cause the market to push up just a little bit. If not, if it's really bad, we're probably going to get rug pulled if she announces something that's not good news. So we'll have to wait and see what she says. But as of right now, even if she does announce something decent, I don't think it's going to push us up for too far. I do see more downside kind of perpetuating. But as of right now, I want to talk about Tesla. So what's interesting about Tesla is we have this gap right here. We are kind of green in the after hours, which is kind of a good sign, but we have this nice gap right here to about that $670 range. That's pretty darn low. Now, we were very close to that place yesterday, so we might get a push up again. But look at the trend on Tesla. You could see right here. Tesla drops hard, pushes up a little bit, drops even harder, slight push, drop hard, slight push, and we're starting to drop hard again. So is it possible for us to fill that gap? It depends on what Brainerd says. It's a possibility, but even if we were to fill this gap like tomorrow or the day after, I would anticipate more red after that. It's not necessarily the end of this bearish phase. Now, looking at the RSI, and you could see this quite clearly relative to before, relative to like back in May, RSI was in that overbought position when Tesla was pushing up. Now, right now, it's very oversold. Look how oversold the RSI is. It's not looking too good for Tesla. It does look like it has more room to drop. I mean, if you look at the MACD, still showing that bearish momentum that's continuing, not necessarily in the best of states. So I am seeing a downward trend that's perpetuating. I want to talk about where this thing may end up retracing to a little bit later. But first off, look at this. What are the key zones for Tesla? If this thing starts dropping, right? Check this out. Give me 1 second. So if Tesla starts dropping, okay, if it starts dropping, we have some support at 615. If 615 doesn't hold us, we have $600 flat. And if that somehow doesn't hold us, the next key zone I'm looking out for is that $583 range, which is where we have a gap fill, I think, from a very long time ago. And once again, not all gaps have to be filled. It's just one possibility. So 583 would be that like really low phase where I would expect us to get a nice bounce. Otherwise, if we start pushing up, okay, Tesla's going to have some resistance at 633, which I think we could easily beat. And then we have 653, 680, 700, and then up to higher levels from there. So from what I'm saying, bearish momentum does appear to be perpetuating. The volume was not too good for today. We actually saw a slight drop in volume relative to before. If you look at the daily candles, you could see the volume was kind of average, a little bit lower than like 2 days ago. So not necessarily in the best of states. As for Tesla, we are kind of green in the after hours, so that could be a sign that we might get pushed up a little bit. But for what I'm seeing right now, okay, if you look at the Nasdaq, let's look at the Nasdaq real quick. I kind of anticipated the Nasdaq is in a state where it's very oversold. We also have this nice gap that kind of formed on the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq dropped really hard and started this upward trend. It does look like it might push up a little bit for tomorrow, maybe be slightly green. Then, depending on what Brainerd ends up saying, it could end up dropping. So tomorrow is going to be kind of a trippy day because the Fed is getting involved, and we know when the Fed speaks, when things come out from the Fed, the market likes to move. So as for Tesla, this is going to be a little complicated. It's going to be a pretty choppy day in my opinion tomorrow because it depends on what's announced. What I would predict for Tesla is it's possible we actually push up a little bit, just a little bit. We might go as high as that like 640 to 650 range. We kind of get a rejection off that, and then all of a sudden trade a little bit sideways. Then Brainerd starts speaking, and we might get a big drop like this. Right as Brainerd is speaking, maybe she says something good, maybe she doesn't. We might get a nice push like this. It really depends on what she says. I don't truly know, but I do think it's less probable she's going to just cause this thing to just drop really hard. It's possible we actually hold up a little bit, might get a rejection off that range, maybe push up a little bit later in the day as the FOMC minutes are released, and slowly kind of trade sideways and maybe be a little bit green. That's kind of what I'm anticipating right now. That doesn't mean I'm straight up super bullish because I do see more bearish momentum that's forming, and Tesla does still look bearish. From the grand scheme of things, it does over the long term. I do see maybe a slight green day for tomorrow, but more red for Thursday and Friday, in my opinion. And from what I'm seeing when it comes to retracements, okay, here's where the key Fibonacci level kind of comes in. I actually pinpointed the golden pocket right here from that 0.618 to 0.65 retracement. And what you're seeing is relative to when we found our bottom back in like, what was that? Early 2021, I pushed it from the bottom to the top. And what you'll find is that we dropped below the golden pocket, right? That's a key zone where stocks like to get bounces. We dropped below that from the macro perspective. And it does look like we have a lot more room to keep going. So one of the things that this is showing, and obviously there could be more and more values. I don't want to add too many values to make this too complicated, but 594 is very possible. That could be a key zone for Tesla if this thing were to keep dropping. But I don't think that that's going to be our bottom. We could go as low as that 540 range. I want to actually note that for each and every one of you. It's a possibility. Now, does this mean you should just sell everything and then try to buy it back at the bottom? I would not recommend doing that. I'm not giving financial advice, by the way, but the reason I don't do that is because we don't know where the bottom is going to be. I mean, what if 600 is the bottom and it doesn't actually go to these levels? What if, you know, 525 is the bottom? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. No one knows what the bottom is going to be. But if I could anticipate anything, we did get a nice bounce off that 540. It does depend on market conditions too. But I think that could be a zone where Tesla gets a nice bounce, at least a temporary one. So be on the lookout for that range. And perhaps that will be the bottom. I mean, as of right now, it does look like that, but I don't really know. But I'm just going to say that that seems like a very keen level. We have been oversold for so long. So 540 could be the bottom for Tesla before we get a nice bounce. It's a very real possibility. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm just going to put it out there. And I want you to know that you shouldn't just try to time the market or time bottoms in a way, because no one knows exactly where it's going to be. When it comes to timing the market, you are able to do that through the short term, right? If you're looking at some uh, puts, if you want to buy some calls, on the long term, you can time time it too by buying calls for the long term, but it's not that easy. So just be very careful. I just want to put that out there. Now, I gave you guys my prediction and talked about the Fed. I want to talk about this right here. Right here, there are some fears of the fact that Tesla may be slowing its production due to what's happening in China, and also with inflation continuing to be at the rate it's at. We are seeing many inventory issues that are perpetuating, and we are seeing a lot of issues with China right now. We are seeing a lot of really hard things happening right now, and they aren't necessarily meeting the demands I think some investors would have wanted. They're at about 13,000 units of production per week and higher than average margins, which is pretty good. But is it really offsetting the losses from that we saw due to the long shutdown? And the thing is, we're not at those levels yet, and people are worried that it may affect Tesla's numbers. I mean, if you look at their revenue, it may not be reaching expectations for the end of the year right now. If you look at their earnings per share, it may not be as great because of what's happening in China. So a lot of investors are now making big points about this. But at the end of the day, Elon Musk and Tesla are not giving up. They are actually investing more in Shanghai. They are going to be kind of building another battery base there to produce more batteries and produce more cars. So that's a really good thing that they're doing. It's not the end of the world, but short term, it's not in the best of states. I mentioned this before. I do see some more bearish momentum for Tesla, but long term, it's still fantastic because they are going to keep growing. 2023 is going to be a much better year, in my opinion, and so on and so forth. It's not the end. I still believe in this company. Don't worry too much. Now, Elon Musk also liked this tweet right here where someone talked about the fact that Tesla has filed a rule change for grid operators in Texas to bring households with solar panels and batteries into the state's energy market. Broad market participation should help power operators stabilize the state's power grid. So right over there, we're seeing some requests for changes so that they can actually help to integrate better grid operators. And this is going to help with their energy sector. And Elon Musk talked about how this is going to be a big deal over time. So we could see that Tesla, I'm not Tesla, Texas is not necessarily connected to the interconnected power grid system of the United States. It's kind of separate, which is why Tesla is taking advantage of this. And it's a very good business move that they're making that could be worth billions in the future. It could be worth tens of billions if they keep on growing this energy sector that's a part of it. So with that said, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. I also heard about what's happening with that new virus. I mean, as of right now, it doesn't seem extremely horrible, right? I mean, the virus itself is bad, but in terms of its spreading, it's not that horrible just yet or as of right now. So I really hope for the best. I don't think it's going to be too bad for the markets. But with that out of the way, I'll keep you guys updated on that. As of right now, yeah, there might be some bounce for Tesla, a slight one, but overall, I just see a bigger downward trend continuing. I do think Tesla has more room to drop, but it's not the end of the world. It's an opportunity to buy more shares. It's an opportunity to buy calls if you want for the long term. Look at this as an opportunity and not the end of the world. With that said, thank you for listening. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.